Well, U.S. lawmakers have voted to approve a ban of the social media app TikTok. They hope this approval will mean the app is banned nationwide by 2025. So for more on this, I want to bring in Ritesh Kotak. He is a cyber and tech analyst in Toronto today. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. I want to start right off here by getting your reaction to this ban. What did you make of it?
No surprise. We knew that the House was going to pass some sort of ban on TikTok. It was pretty obvious. The votes were in. This is something that we've been talking about for a while. But that doesn't mean it's banned. There is several steps still in the legislative process. It has to go to the Senate. It's expected to pass in the Senate. And then it will go to the president's desk where they got to sign it into law. Now, just because it's law, there's going to be a grace period, a year with potentially extensions afterwards. And at that point, we will see if they actually follow through with it and it actually gets banned from the App Store, or if TikTok comes up with some sort of agreement with the U.S. government to allow the app to exist.
Let's talk about sort of how something like this would be enforced, because let's say it gets through and passes all the legislative hurdles it needs to. How would a banning a TikTok app actually be enforced?
The way it would be enforced is they'd yank it from the App Store. They would force the app stores. Obviously, the two big ones are Google and Apple. They would say this app is illegal. It's against U.S. law, and we demand that you take it off your respected app store in the U.S. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that individuals won't find a way around it. We've seen situations where there's been content that's been unavailable in particular geographies, and people figure it out. They use what are called virtual private networks, VPNs, proxy servers, to kind of make it look like they're virtually in another place. So just because, even if a ban was to get through and it was to get off the App Store, where there's a will, there's a way. So it's going to be very hard to enforce.
You know, I wonder about the economics of this as well, because many individuals in the United States in particular rely on TikTok as a job. It's not just a social media platform for fun. You know, one study with Oxford Economics, which was funded by TikTok, said just in the food and beverage sector alone, TikTok supported and contributed some $6.4 billion to the annual GDP. What does this mean for those who rely on TikTok for making a living?
Yeah, and I think those numbers are accurate. There's 170 million Americans that use the app. Small businesses rely on the apps. We've seen a whole industry around content creation. So people, this is their livelihood. And if you take it away, there is going to be severe economic repercussions that are going to come to it. And everyday people are going to feel it. So, this is a lifeline for many organizations. It's a lifeline for individuals. This is the way people are communicating. And a ban would have residual impacts and unintended consequences.
So given that, Ritesh, how likely do you think that this ban will actually go forward? Or do you think perhaps TikTok will make the modifications that it needs to make in order to stay operational in the United States?
So my gut says that there is going to be some sort of compromise. This is going to pass the Senate. I think this is going to go into law. And then that's when the negotiations are going to begin. And I'm sure that they'll find some sort of middle ground. Right now, the U.S. government wants them to divest the holding, so there is no Beijing connection because the parent company is headquartered in China. And I think they're looking for some sort of assurances. This is far from over, even though everything seems like, okay, we're headed towards a ban. Until there's an actual ban, the app is still going to be functional, and I think there's going to be a compromise in the 11th hour.
Okay, let's take a look north now to where we are. How likely is it for Canada to follow suit with something like this, a ban like this?
That's a good question. There have been talks about bans with respect to this app in Canada. We've seen government agencies pull advertising off the app. We haven't really spoken about a ban. I think overall, singling out a platform is a bad idea. I think we need to have the same rule book for all apps. I don't think right now that there's going to be a ban north of the border. This doesn't seem to be a conversation that we're currently having. But if it does get banned in the United States and actually gets pulled from the App Store, if it does reach that, I think the conversations would definitely be restarted up here.